Good to see you, faggots. What's going on? It's Joey Crack right back at you. What's going on, everybody? Been a while since I did a show from this headquarters, but a lot to get off my mind, and just, some stuff, very good news, breaking news, and a lot of things I want to get off. I was at the Royal Rumble, as you saw my show, and right now, it's finally happening. People are getting sick of Daniel Bryan, and it's finally about time. I mean, did you people really think, and I'm talking to the smart, the marks out there, the nerds, the goats. I mean, I've said it before and I've said it again, and then I'm going to get on to something more, but I'm going to spend like a minute on this. Did you really think that Daniel Bryan, he had his time to shine last year. Okay, he didn't win the Royal Rumble, Batista did last year, and I'm still happy about that. And Roman won it this year, and I was there in Philly. I'm from Philly. The Wells Fargo Center's right down the street. I was there. When Roman came out, I was right there. You can see my red Rocker Wear hoodie right there. I was right there. And hey, Roman wasn't my pick to win it. I'm not even a big Roman fan. If you see some of my shows, I said, if Roman wins, we riot. But everybody there in the building at the Wells Fargo Center, I don't think everybody acted like it was Daniel Bryan. I was there, trust me. That people wanted Dean Ambrose, kids wanted Dean Ambrose. I remember walking in, there was a kid saying he wanted Dean Ambrose so bad. A whole bunch of kids saying they wanted Dean Ambrose. Mega people, I mean thousands of people wanted Dolph Ziggler and Dean Ambrose. People wanted Bray Wyatt, you know what I mean? People thought, and I'll get into Bray Wyatt in a minute. What do you call it? With his special promos, you all know who they've been going to, his last two promos, and I'll get to that in a minute. But finally people are revolting and getting against Daniel Bryan because he's the one being shoved down our throat, not Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns has done nothing wrong. I could see last year, I didn't boo Batista. Batista is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, like my new LA hat, fat, right? And what do you call it? I'm going to LA soon, too. But if you see, they kept booing Batista last year. And I can understand that because Batista was old and he just came back. You know what I mean? But Roman hasn't done nothing wrong. Roman's himself. You know what I mean? He hasn't done nothing wrong. And the only reason, and then I'm going to get off this subject, the only reason Daniel Bryan is even fighting, and anybody who's got it in their head, like you nerd marks, that think Daniel Bryan's going to beat Roman Reigns, and then somehow miraculously, unrealistically, and I think Levi Stadium would boo their brains out if Daniel Bryan beat Brock Lesnar in the main event at WrestleMania 31. But that's not even happening because Daniel Bryan's not going to be in the main event. Daniel Bryan's going to be in like the second or third match. Rumored, if he fights Dolph Ziggler at WrestleMania, it's going to be the first match. If it's him and Ziggler at WrestleMania, that's going to be the first match. Anyway, back to why Daniel Bryan is fighting Roman Reigns at Fastlane in the first place. And it is why. It's because the same reason with The Rock, why The Rock came out at the end of the Royal Rumble. Daniel Bryan's going to lose fair and square to Roman Reigns. In a good match, to entertain the fans, because that's the main event. You know what I mean? Another reason they had that match is because not a lot of wrestlers want to wrestle that match. And that's not a big pay-per-view. Like, No Way Out was pretty big, if you remember that. And the Elimination Chamber got big. But anymore, without two belts, and without the brands being split, I didn't even think there was going to be a pay-per-view this year. I thought they weren't even talking about it. Like, until Royal Rumble. You know what I mean? So, I don't know where the WWE is going to go from there. But the only reason Daniel Bryan's fighting is because Daniel Bryan's going to lose. And then after the match, Daniel Bryan's going to shake his hand, raise Roman's hand, go like this, and then start getting everybody go like this. And even possibly Roman's going to go like this just for that night. And then get him over. That is so stupid. If I was Roman Reigns, I wouldn't even want The Rock. I would want my own identity. My own identity. And what they're thinking about doing with Roman is the same thing they did with The Rock. And if you remember, in 1998, Dwayne Johnson is Roman Reigns' cousin. The Rock was the heel with the Nation, y'all remember, and he took over the Nation. They kicked Farouk out, and The Rock was getting popular. Then he turned face, and he was face for like 3 months. But Austin was still like the top guy. But The Rock was really starting to get up there. But The Rock wasn't fully there yet. But the people were loving him. You know what I mean? So then at Survivor Series 98, Deadly Game, they turned The Rock heel. And The Rock was heel for not even a year. I mean, he was heel from November of 98 till June of 99. So about 8 months he was a heel. He was with the corporation, then he went face. And he was faced all the way till he came back as Hollywood Rock, and then he was Hollywood Rock for 3 months, and then he was a face again. So basically, he's been the same ever since. But that's what they're planning on, rumored planning on doing with Roman Reigns. Because possibly after WrestleMania, Brock Lesnar is scheduled to be in San Jose the night after, and that's supposed to be his last night in WWE. But Vince McMahon is very, very, very pretty convinced that Brock is going to resign with WWE. But the rumor is that they're going to have Paul Heyman turn on Brock, like he did before with The Big Show back in 2002 at Survivor Series, and go at Roman Reigns. So there it is. I mean, Roman's the man right now, face or heel. I'm loving it because if he's getting cheered down, if you can see the other night on SmackDown, I don't think Daniel Bryan liked it that much. When Daniel Bryan was in the ring during Miz TV, and I got it here on one of my videos, and Roman Reigns was coming down, Roman Reigns was getting cheered. It was 50-50. It wasn't like last year. I could see last year. I wasn't down with last year, but Batista was old and he was coming in and people wanted to see Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan got his chance. He won the biggest main event ever at WrestleMania. He made Dave Batista the animal tap. Randy Orton never lost his belt. Do you hear him crying, Daniel? Is Randy Orton saying, I never lost my belt? He never got a rematch. The Rock never got a rematch from WrestleMania 29. The Rock never got a rematch from losing to Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam 2002. You know what I'm saying? It was just a storyline to give the stupid marks, you stupid Daniel Bryan fans, you cry babies, your little white, so you could see him in the main event of Fastlane. Because at WrestleMania, he's either fighting Ziggler or he's fighting Sheamus. And they're pushing Sheamus to the moon. Because Sheamus is only 32, 33. His real name's Stephen Finlay. Yeah, I think that's his real name, Stephen Finlay. Good friends with Triple H. And you know when you're in with Triple H, you're going to the moon. They're pushing him as a heel because Sheamus is better as a heel. I mean, he was alright as a face, but he's better as a heel. He got a new haircut. I mean, the same look, same talk. I think a little different with his tights and boots. Are like black and green now, like more greener. And his hair is like a fade, I'm hearing. Like not spiked at all. It's a fade. And the Celtic cross that Sheamus used to wear is now a tattoo. And he wears the cross. So he looks, and he's got a couple new tats. So he looks more tougher, more heelish, and more meaner fella. So there's a rumor that, and this will be the third time Daniel Bryan and Sheamus have wrestled, if this happens, at WrestleMania. They wrestled at WrestleMania 27 in a dark match before it went on pay-per-view. They wrestled in the first match at WrestleMania 28 in Miami, and Sheamus won the world title in 18 seconds when the GOAT kissed AJ. And if they wrestle this year, it'll be the third time. So, whatever. Another thing I want to get at, Daniel Bryan, Roman, yay. Roman's the future, deal with it. All you marks, all you IWC or ICW fans, fuck you. Alright? Joey G and Sean's View, the two best shows on the internet. And Kevin Castle and Don Tony. Word life. And John Cena is the man. Taking John Cena out of the main event picture or a big match at WrestleMania is completely absurd. I don't know why you're doing that. That dude still leads in merchandise. He's still the first there and still the first to leave. But last, I'm going to get on Cena tomorrow on a different show. There's a lot. Don't think that Cena's fighting Rusev at WrestleMania. He's fighting him at Fastlane. There's a rumor that he's fighting Finn Boyle, a.k.a. Prince the Vet, at WrestleMania. Big rumor there. Also rumors floating around that he could be tagging with Hogan or possibly wrestling Hogan at WrestleMania this year. Now on to my last thing. Bray Wyatt. Last two promos on Raw and SmackDown. Who was he talking to? He was talking to The Undertaker. I know you can hear me. You think you can just get away with what you did, talking about all his victories and the streak he had at WrestleMania. And now since he lost, he thinks he can just walk away. That's what Bray's saying. Then on SmackDown, he said, on Raw, he said, I'm the new face of fear. On SmackDown, he said, Reaper, Grim Reaper. Who's the Grim Reaper? The Undertaker. He was going, knock, knock. Bray Wyatt's promos are so good. Okay? Roman, like I said, at the Royal Rumble, Roman, I'm not a big fan of Roman. I kind of like Roman now because he's badass. He doesn't need his cousin The Rock, and he doesn't need the goat, troll-faced nerd Daniel Bryan to get him over. Roman can get over as a badass himself. And he will, trust me, he will. He will shine, trust me. I have faith in Roman Reigns. He will shine. But Bray Wyatt versus The Undertaker, and then you're having Sting versus Triple H. And everybody's saying, It's WrestleMania 8 all over again because you had Hogan and Flair in the same company before they ever fought. And they originally had it to be Hogan versus Flair. Then they switched it. They put Hogan versus Sid and Flair versus Savage. And I thought WrestleMania 8 was pretty good. I thought Flair versus Savage was great when they started having Flair, having pictures with Elizabeth. I thought that was cool. But the thing is, they didn't flag The Undertaker and Sting. It's happening at WrestleMania 32. You got to remember, these guys, this is the only match these two will wrestle, Sting and The Undertaker. Sting might wrestle one more match between now and next year's WrestleMania, and that's it. After this match, Undertaker loses to Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania 2. That's the only reason The Undertaker's doing it. I'm going a little longer. I'm going to get down to it real quick. The only reason, Undertaker wasn't even going to wrestle at WrestleMania this year. He was going to be there and be shown on camera, but he wasn't even going to wrestle until next year versus Sting. The only reason he's doing it, and this is real rap and breaking news, he's doing it for Mike Rotundo, a.k.a. IRS, because that's Bray Wyatt's dad. Mark Calloway has known Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotundo, his real name, since he was a little boy when IRS, Mike Rotundo, was in WCW, NWA back then, with the Varsity Club with Rick Steiner and Kevin Sullivan, and The Undertaker was Mark Calloway, Mean Mark in WCW. The Undertaker said, I remember him in WCW when Bray, a.k.a. Wyndham Rotundo, was a 2-year-old little baby. He said, he's the future. He's the future cornerstone like I was, like him and Mick Foley was, in between of The Undertaker and Mankind. He's like Undertaker said it, he's like the next me. Why would I go in there and squash him and beat him? He lost to Cena last year, and now he's going to lose to me? No. And then plus, in my board, I'm thinking, the Undertaker's thinking, I'm only going to have that one loss to Brock Lesnar. And I don't think he wants that. At least he could say, okay, I lost to Lesnar and Bray Wyatt. So don't look for Bray Wyatt to win cleanly. He'll win probably, he's not going to win by DQ or count. He's going to pin The Undertaker. And then next year, The Undertaker fights Sting and beats him. Undertaker record at WrestleMania, all-time record, 22-2. Because next year, Undertaker and Sting, that'll be both their final matches. Win, lose, or draw, and The Undertaker will win and go out with a win. And I think that's the best way to do it, and beat Sting. Because it ain't about the streak anymore, and that's the good thing about it. You don't have to have The Undertaker going in this year worrying about the streak. And Bray's going to end it, and Bray's just going to beat him. And it's not going to be a clean victory because The Undertaker lost clean, fair, and square to Brock last year. Bray will cheat, but he'll win. He'll have the W. You know what I mean? And The Undertaker will lose. Next year, it's being... Remember, they're going to sell out 100,000 tickets in Dallas next year. Undertaker and Sting is definite, and Rock Cena 3 and WrestleMania 32 are definite. This year with Cena, like I said, a lot of things, but Brock and Roman is the main event of WrestleMania 31. So deal with it, Marks. Deal with it. Congratulations to the New England Patriots. Karma's a bitch, Marshawn Lynch. There's a reason that you didn't get the ball and run it in because the Seahawks should have won. And John Fox gets fired by Denver? Why? John Fox is an awesome coach. Why? For real. Why? Why does he get fired? You fired one of the greatest, not of all time, but one of the best coaches in the NFL today. And Denver cans him. But there's a reason that Seattle didn't win. God didn't want you to, Marshawn, because you're a racist and you're just a jerk. You're a chump, and you're not even going to be on the Seahawks next year. If any coach should get fired, it's Pete Carroll for calling that dumbass call. Congratulations, Tom Brady and the Patriots. Much love. But the main, Eminem and Detroit, that's what I ride with, the Pistons in basketball, yeah. And my Eagles next year, the Philadelphia Eagles and the New York Giants. But WrestleMania, Roman and Brock, and I don't know who the GOAT's going to be facing, either Ziggler or Sheamus. Also, another match for WrestleMania that is definite, Randy Orton and Seth Rollins for the Money in the Bank briefcase. Rumored that it's going to be cashed in that night. It's never been cashed in at WrestleMania before. This is Joey G, and I'm out. Peace.